All right, we're back, and it's COMP3026. It's week 7, lesson 7, part 2. And when we last talked about, we wanted to get this server done. We set up our access list equivalent IP address range that are good. We went to, I'm going to go back to SQL Server. To server. Once you see your server in your SQL database, your SQL database is in your server, right? So here's your Azure. Underneath that, you're going to have your SQL database. And I called mine 3026. You're going to call it whatever. You're going to right-click, and you're going to open it in Object Explorer, Server Object Explorer. When it goes there, it's going to open up a new window. And you're going to see the name of your server. The general form is the name of your server.database.windows.net. Phew. When you go there, you're going to go into databases. There's going to be a section for system databases, which you're not going to touch. And you're going to go into your own database, which you should be able to see now with the same name, COMP3026. You're going to kind of open that, and you're going to go to tables, right-click, and then add new table like I just did. It's going to generate this view for you. What we need to do, the first thing we do in the T-SQL section down here, right, you can also do it in properties. If I want to change my database table name, typically what I do is I do it down here. That's the easiest way. So I just kind of change the table. So we're going to call this, let's say, Aaron, I think menu would be good, right? Menu, my menu table. I could also make it food table or whatever you want to call it. What do you think is more appropriate? Menu, food, menu, right? That's our menu table. And once I do that,
well, what are we managing?
It's going to be a menu of food items. Food items. That's what we're going to do, right? We can call it food menu, okay, food table, whatever. Okay, so we have an ID. Now remember, in SQL, we have to change our identity specification, right? We have to make that true, right? Because this is going to be, it's almost like turning on auto increment, right? If we don't do this, we're in trouble. Auto increment has to be on, right? Or identity specification has to be set to true. So please do that for your ID. Are you with me? I'll wait till you guys get to there. Are we all together?
I can see COMP3026. I can see a table.
Right-click on tables. And you're going to add new table. When you go add new table, then it's going to take you to Table Designer, which is this view that I'm seeing right here. Again, I have no project open. There's no project. It's just me opening up Visual Studio and doing this. Right?
I'm really actually impressed by this Visual Studio's Azure actions. Because I forgot to do my 000, and it was like, hey, that's not added to your firewall. Do you want to add it now? And I'm like, yeah.
All right, are we there? Are we together? Okay, let's add. So what's my first? I think I need to name my food item, right? So I obviously need a name, right? I'm going to change the data type here. And by the way, you can use a management studio if you have that. I just choose to use it right here in Visual Studio. Why not? I'm going to change this from ncar, which is usually we use that in culture, in the culture that we're in. I'm going to change it to varchar or varchar. Everyone says it differently. For my name, probably 50 is enough. There we are. And then probably some kind of description for the item. Okay, which is probably going to be, I'm going to use varchar max for that. So that we don't know how big my description is going to be. I could limit it, but why? There we go. And maybe, so name, description, maybe we're going to have a price. How about that? How about them apples? A price. Right? And maybe under price, we're going to make it a decimal. Here's decimal. And we want at least a couple of decimal places. We're going to put 2 in there. There we go. And you know what? Once in a while, our food items are going to be on special. So we're going to say on special. Right? And we're going to change this to, if I'm not wrong, bit, right? For which is equivalent to SQL's Boolean, right? Okay, so that's all in. We've kind of modeled our database. Are you with me? Anyone not with me? That would be bad, right?
Decimal. So does that mean you want 2 spaces after, so 99 cents.
Right.
But you're gonna have a price that's 18.
One day, I want to make it
So
so
the high-end
I'm gonna make it so expensive that people won't even be able to step into the restaurant. Yeah,
Right.
You want like a discount percentage, right? You want a discount.
that might be cool. I like that idea. So discount like a percentage, or you want
No,
to?
you want a hard
It would be
price.
like if it's on special, it will use the discount, right? That's sort of idea.
We could. I mean, there's different ways of modeling it. Would you agree, guys? Do you want a discount price?
Discount price, not percent.
A discount percent.
No, you would never do
So that means we're going to calculate our discount percent. No, I think we'd probably put our discount price kind of off the get-go, so we don't have no calculation, right? So put that in there. So discount discount price, one word, and we'll make that a decimal as well, right? And we'll make sure for sure we're going to have the same kind of format where it's a couple of decimal places in here. All right, are we good? Anyone else want to add anything else to our table for our menu? This is our menu items like food. How about a we're going to have a if we're keeping inventory, like how many souvlaki's we got, whatever.
That's a different table.
We could have a different table, right? That's a different table for that one. And what about our a code for each of our menu items? Not the ID, but the code. Like so, if I had this in the ordering system, then souvlaki would be called. If it was a chicken souvlaki and a pita, it would be CSP1, right? Like a code, like some kind of string code that's used just for the company that's selling these things in there.
That's just your primary key that's generated.
We can use that, or we can make our own like special code, right? So we can. Huh?
So now I'm hungry.
How about category,
I used to do it where,
right?
I've done this before. I used to do it where you have like, it links to all the, amounts of food that you require for your raw ingredients, you know what I'm saying? Like,
We could
that's a
do that.
different thing altogether.
Look at we're not going to go that crazy today, right? How about?
You have-
I know. You're right.
I'll open a can.
How about a category? A category we can get a category like the type of category. So right now this is maybe an entree or an appetizer. Would we want to ever break it down that way? Category.
You'd have to have another table for that.
We could do a category table, right? And then we'd link it with our foreign key, right? So if you want to, let's first make this one. So one table at a time is my motto, right? So here's the first table. How you do it, you go here to update. Click update. It's going to prepare this database script automatically through Visual Studio. It's built in. So again, there's no management to be done. I could simply generate, if I click generate script, I'm going to show you what this looks like. It looks like this. It actually creates the script that creates our database table, right? Now, you could have chosen just update, but if you don't want to do that, you can just click this button here where it says execute, where it executes the script on the database. And if you notice down here, it says update complete. Once I've done it, I just click this button here, this execute button to execute my script, right? And then my update was complete. Now, if I look at my tables, I should have when it updates this menu table. It says dbo.menu. You should have something similar. All right. So now my menu's there, right? Okay. So we mentioned categories. Let's make that simple. Second table.
So we're making like a web app that'll show you.
Yeah.
Like categories.
Categories. All right. Let's do categories. So we're going to right-click on table and add a new table, and we're going to rename the table down here like we did last time, right? We'll call this categories, right? It's a primary key. So again, we have to click on this, and on the right, we're going to say our identity specification is true. If you forget this, this would be bad. That means you'd have to update your key, your ID manually. It's not auto update unless you do this. Identity specification. That's what it is.
That's a dumb way to say it.
I know it should be called, auto increment, which is what I'm used to from. And there's no like checkbox for that
What
either.
happened to the, like we just should we be using like UUIDs or something like that?
We should, but we're not going to today, right? All right.
I'm gonna stop throwing things in.
The category would have a name, yeah? So category name, right? I think that's enough. And we'll be making a varchar, I don't know, for whatever reason, 50. And some people say varchar. I like saying varchar because that's just the way I am, right? Is there anything else that we need here from a category? We're just going to call it category, right? Maybe a description? Sure. Category description, make that varchar 50 as well. Or maybe you make that varchar max, maybe if you want to go crazy. You went crazy with varchar, right? Okay, cool. Let's do the same thing. What do? Update, right? This creates the script. Take a look. Update. I click. Now again, last time what I did was I clicked generate script when this is done, right? I could simply just go update database and it would do the same thing. It would just go directly to update the database with the script that's generated. I gotta wait now until it's done. I can't do this. It's actually generating a script. Okay, on the back end. There we go. So now this time I'm going to do the second way. Instead of generating a script, I'm just going to say update database. And it'll do the same thing. It'll generate the script, and on the back end over here, it'll say update complete successfully. And if I go over here to tables, I see that there's a categories table and a menu table. Okay, do I have to modify my menu table because I have a categories table and I want to get a foreign key for the categories, right? I know this is kind of, database 101, but what the hell, right? So let's go into my menu table now, and how do I implement a foreign key? Foreign keys. Add new foreign key, right? And my foreign key, it says foreign key menu table, right? What do? Rename it to categories, right? Category, or maybe category ID. Category ID, right? There it is. Okay, I want to link it. So how do I link it to my categories? What do I do now? Come on, smart guy. I created my
You have to do it in the actual text. It's not
in here, right? I got to create another thing here, right?
Yeah. But it isn't letting you do anything when you click the.
Well, see where it says down here, foreign key column, where it says, references to table, right? Down here is the actual stuff down here, right? I could simply do it up here as well, right?
Just curious what's created.
What, this?
No, it's like you see everything on the right.
This?
Yeah.
Well, this is what we've created. You've created it this way. There's different ways of doing this, right? I got my key, my primary key, and I got my foreign key, right? Now, what if I remember there's times where you can actually do it this way too, where you can say like something like category ID, and then instead of ncar, we roll it down and we choose a foreign key. But it depends on the version of the SQL that we're using, right? In this particular case, that won't work. So I'm going to delete that. How do you do it? Come on, guys. I'm going to start asking the experts. Brandon, how do you, you're the expert. How do you do it? I'm joking. How do you add a foreign key? How do I connect my foreign key to my category table? I want to add a foreign key. If you don't remember that, we can also do it through T-SQL, which is on the bottom. Tell me how to do it. Foreign key, it says constraint.
So the two tables and two categories.
Okay. What about column?
Okay, so the first column is going to be category ID.
So I don't have a column called category ID. So I have to put it in here. So category ID, I'm going to put it back. Category ID, right? And my and it's going to be an integer just like this one is, right? 'Cause it's got to receive that. Okay, now my column has got to be that. So I'm going to just go in there and put category ID for my column. My reference, my two table and two table column, right? So it's category, categories. And my two table column is going to be ID, right? If I'm not wrong.
I think you replace the square brackets. No?
Nope. That's how it is. And there you go. Are we good? So if everything goes well, we've done our T-SQL on the bottom, right? We've created our foreign key. Brian, what's wrong? You're laughing at me. What's going on? What's that? You figured it out? Was I wrong? Or did I do it wrong? Huh? Okay, so it's all done. Now I need to do the update again. So I'm going to go update, right? It's going to prepare my script. Let's take a look at it this time because I want to see what it's going to do, right? It's interesting how it generates the script. It does it on the back end. If you notice, Visual Studio is doing it all for us. Almost got a like a, I don't know, a minified version, if you will, or micronized version of Management Studio built in, right? So if I generate the script, it produces it up here, right? So if I go back down here, it says, I'm just gonna look at some of this stuff, right? Trans count here. If exists, basically this script creates my table. Okay, let me just press execute. That's good. It updated, and now let's check to see if I've got my categories. I'm just going to close these down just to see from a persistence perspective. There's my menu, right? I don't have to keep any of these things. These are just. Oh, don't tell me it crashed. Oh, good, it didn't crash. Sorry, I'm also running a Visual Studio in a VM, so you have to bear with me. But the great thing is you can check this thing out with Management Studio if you have such a thing. I'll wait till it cycles down. And you gotta like this one, eh? When Visual Studio stops responding, it's all great.
Yeah.
Does it do it for you too? Right?
Yeah, it does it also a lot more. So if it does that and it's completely updated and
So we're good to go. We can stop it. Like see, like right now it kind of recovered, right?
And it's on Azure
It's
site.
because it's such fluid software. Like, there's so many things going on.
All right, so I'm gonna go into my data is here. So I've kind of described my tables, right? Now I want to build my entity framework, right? So I need a project now. Like before, I have two things. I have my categories and my menu. I don't have anything in my categories. I don't have anything in my menu. If I want to do, for me, I want to do some data input, right? You can actually do it right through Visual Studio, right? And the way to do that, of course, would be to go to right-click on categories and go to View Data, right? If we've done things correctly, it'll connect to Azure, and it'll pull up this little table. So here's my ID, my name, my description for my categories. Let's start naming my categories. So someone help me out here. Entrees or appetizers?
Yeah.
So is this going to be food?
Food and maybe drinks too, right?
The whole menu?
Yeah.
So you could categorize it off of like appetizers.
Okay, appetizers, my description, stuff you eat before you eat, right? That worked. And then maybe entrees. We're going to say stuff you eat, right? And maybe some side dishes, sides, stuff you eat on the side. And we can get as specific as we want here. And maybe, so we have side dishes, entrees, appetizers. How about specials? Huh? Specials. Stuff that costs less.
Yeah, but shouldn't
To eat?
specials just be within the other categories, and then they have the special?
Oh boy, now we're talking. All right. Do you want me to do that? Huh? Huh?
No, you
Oh, do you want me to do that, man? Huh? Do you want me to make a
That's
specials table?
It's less complicated.
All right. So stuff on specials. So specials is up.
They're just normal items, but you flip the flag.
All right, man. All right. I agree to your craziness. Right there it is.
Limited time offer. Like
What
limited
else?
time, which would be special.
How about beverages?
Yeah. Beer, wine.
Just about a beverage category. Beverages, beer and wine.
Okay.
Is that okay? Stuff you drink. Right. Okay. Are we good with categories? Right. Let's go to menu. All right. So I'm going to go. Oh, babe. Hey, by the way, it's automatically updated as soon as it says this. Okay. I'm good. I've got stuff in there. Right. All right. I'm going to go to. Oh boy. I'm going to wait. This is what I'm going to do while this thing just updates. Okay, cool. I'm going to go to menu, and I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to go view data. That's right. That's why I did that, right? And if all things go well, we're going to add a couple of items just to have a couple items in the database, right? So our first item is what?
Beer.
Beer. Okay, fine. Beer. What's kind of a? What kind of maybe make a instead of let's go Stella, right? Okay, something else. What kind of beer you want, right? Okay,
What
Stella.
kind of beer you like, Tom? Stella?
Stella's fine.
That Belgian crap.
That's crap. Yeah. Description.
God, I can't think of
Beer from Belgium.
that. I like that.
Price. I don't know. We're gonna say it's $4.99, right?
Chilled Belgium.
Okay. And then on special, it's gonna be no. So this is where, from a special perspective, it's a 0 or 1, right? So if I'm not wrong, it's gonna be 0. And discount price. There is no discount price, but just in case there is, we'll say it's $1 off, right? When it's on discount. And my category ID, this is where I don't have an option. It doesn't have a pull down, right? I got to kind of look at my categories. Do you remember what my category for beverages is?
4, I think.
Is it 4?
Can you set on special to be
It's actually 5, because I deleted one. All right. Yours would be 4 because I deleted one, right? I made mine 5. Okay. Are we good with that one item? Let's leave that one, and we'll add the other ones in our web app, right? When we do CRUD. Okay, so I've got everything. I haven't still opened up a project. All I'm doing is using Visual Studio as my management studio for my database, right? Okay, let's create this new project, this fandangled new project. So now I'm actually going to create a new project. File, new project. Okay, and we're going to make it so it's a new web application. We're going to call this, well, for me, I'm going to call it COMP3026, lesson 7. I think it's part 2, right? And press OK. I'm going to go MVC as my basic app, right? And now my authentication right now is individual user access. This is interesting because I don't have a user account or anything like that I created. I don't have anything like that to user account. I also have Windows authentication and stuff. For now, let's leave authentication aside, right? Because I think we can leave that on the wayside, right? For now, let's press OK. And let's wait for Azure, or sorry, for Visual Studio to create our stuff.
So you did no authentication?
No authentication for now. Okay, cool. We've got Azure and working. We've got basically a default project started off. And now we need a model because we have no models in our project. Okay, so let's do this thing. Let's add a new model. How do we do it? We're going to create an entity framework model. Yeah?
Did you make a website? Or?
Yeah, project, file, project. And I went to, when I went to project, created a new MVC project, a new blank one, and I called it COMP3026, lesson 7, part 2. Okay, so not yet. I will later. We're going to do that with our GitHub. I'm going to do it directly from GitHub. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't check.
I can also publish it now if I want to. I can create a web app and publish it if I want, but for now, let's leave it as is. Okay, I want to connect to my database tables on Azure, right? This is the key. So I want to do it using Entity Framework, right? That's the best way to do it. I'm going to use the database first approach. Remember, there's 3 approaches to the Entity Framework. There's database first, there is a code first approach, which we'd like to make, but imagine we're always using an existing table, and there is an existing table. We can assume that it was made before from a previous website that only had one item, a beer, beverage, Stella from Belgium, right? And a couple categories, right? And so we're going to make the database first approach. There's also the model first approach, which we could do, and we would create the database from the model. But I don't like doing that. I like database first approach is kind of my preferred way, only because for the most part it works. I want to right-click on models here, right? And I'm going to add a new item. Add new item. I'm going to go to data when I go add new item. And you'd be forgiven to think that ES6 DB context generator would be the one you want. It's not it. It's up here on EDO.net, ADO.net entity data model. down here where it says model, we want to give it a descriptive name, like what our restaurant's called, right? The model for a restaurant. You know, so maybe we're going to call this thing, I don't know, you know, we'll call it Greek. Like pizza, I don't know.
Ciliopolis, Acropolis.
Sure. It's too long, man. It's too long, man. Come on. Think about the web page. You want to make it a short, memorable name, right?
The big
Good luck trying to.
The big one?
Big O.
The big O.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because that's what you think when you think of that restaurant. Oh
Oh yeah. Okay.
Guys.
How about the olive branch?
What was that?
The olive branch.
The olive branch. I'm gonna call it
How about Tom's?
Tom's. There we go. Tom's model.
Tom's Bistro.
Tom's model. There we go. Add. Tom's is good. Tom's is short. All right. There we go. There's different options here. For example, when you use Entity Framework, there is the design from database, design from model, model first approach. We also can do the code first approach or an empty code first approach. I don't recommend the other three, just this one for now. And press next. It's going to ask you for a database connection. Who remembers what their server's called? 135 b7c3.database.windows.net. You don't remember, right? So I'm going to click cancel like I don't remember. And I'm going to go to my database name, which is right here. I'm going to go to properties. And I'm going to pull this open so I can get my database name, which is, in this case, ACFKC, whatever it is. I'm going to copy this whole thing at windows.net, database.windows.net, copy it, and then close this little panel up again, and do that again. So I'm going to go back to Solution Explorer, right-click on Models, Add. I'm going to go to New Item, go to Data, go to ADO.net, entity data model, change my model name to Tom's model. All right, are you with me?
I gotta wait for it. I'm too quick for it.
And then press Add. And when you press Add, you're going to get here to the EF Designer from Database. Click Next. And now we're here at New Connection. I'll wait for you guys. Are you there with me? New Connection. Come on, decomp. We're going to play. Stop. Okay. No? Are you there with me? Come on. Who's with me? Jean-Luc, you with me? Yeah. Huh? Brian, you with me? Brian. Hey.
I'm with you.
Okay, Mike. All right, so we got some other people who probably get the power. I'm going to click New Connection. New Connection, right? When I do that, I'm going to put in my server name by right-clicking and pasting, right? Or you can look it over here if you have this by chance open, right? It'll all look different always.
When I click new. When I click new.
Oh yeah, you have to choose Microsoft SQL Server, SQL Client as the first part.
I don't remember that.
You should.
Microsoft SQL Server.
No, SQL Client. Oh, SQL Server, SQL Server, but SQL Client in the brackets. What I got.
Just Microsoft SQL Server or Microsoft SQL Server database.
Yeah, I got the same as that.
SQL Server.
Oh, there we go. Now it looks like that.
All right, SQL Server, and then in here you're going to put in the name of your SQL Server. You're not going to use Windows authentication. We're going to use SQL authentication, which is the one we made, right? So I'm going to put in my name, my username, and password again. And I'm going to save my password because I trust my computer implicitly, right? And then I'm going to pull down. If this is right, I should be able to pull down my database, right? Let's take a look. Yeah, 3026, huh? If I can do this, if I see my database, then this is right, and so is this. Yeah, ARG. Okay,
Why does it say master?
that's bad. Just leave it alone. And then COMP3026, and press OK. When I do that, it's going to give me this screen here. That's going to say, hey, do you want to include all your sensitive data so that the entire world can know what it is in your config? I'm going to say yes, because we're that kind of open society that no one's going to break into my stuff. All right? And for our particular example, it's fine. All right?
One quick question. When you say you would a new connection, what do I want to choose? SQL server or database file?
SQL Server. Okay, down here, after we do this, after we choose that and you log in properly, I can back up if you want, Aaron.
No,
I'm good.
If you look at save connection strings in web config as, change this from entities to default connection, please, in upper camel case, default connection, or you will have an issue.
Pascal case.
Pascal case, upper camel case, it's the same. Here we go. Same words.
The double hump.
A double
The
hump.
dromedary.
Right, are we good? Are you guys with me over here? Jean-Luc, come on, man. I gotta see the fist. Are we good? Right? We actually can see the you're not good?
When I click next, it said default connection conflicts with an existing property name in the application settings. You choose a different name.
Fine, choose something else. But default connection should work with me. If it doesn't, you can always choose your own. For example, it might have a default connection in here in web config. If I click next, it's going to ask me about which type of entity framework. I want entity framework 6.x, right? Not 5.0. So 6.x. Are you guys with me on this one? Then you did something wrong, Mike.
I did something wrong. Way to go, Mike.
And Aaron, are you good?
I'm not there yet.
Did you get shown this way when you were doing it, or did you get shown another way? In
No, I
COMP3026?
got shown a different way. Well, it's basically the same as what we're doing here, but before we were creating the database. We
Different.
just use ran a script.
Right, but this way we can do it manually, right? Which gives you more power.
Okay, so we
Steven, are you good?
Yeah.
Are you in? Aaron, are you good?
Almost there.
What the hell? Come on. By now, I thought.
Sorry, Tom.
No, you can't be sorry.
Trying to
No.
help everybody.
Vanessa, come on.
I
What are
know.
you taking away from?
She's phone anchor. She's dragging me down.
Now you're recorded. Your name's recorded forever. You know, Natasha, you can kill me later, all right? Let's just continue, all right? Are we good? Huh?
It's not on video.
Not on video. You can kill me later.
No creation.
Did yours work? No creation?
I'm with you. She's almost there.
I'm waiting for a couple of people. I can't say who, right? Who is not here with me right now? Who can't, like, you know, is there people that are still catching up? Mike?
I was right with you until you click next, and I don't see that at all.
Well, then you've chosen something weird.
I did not.
All right, we're going to click next now. For the most of us, we're going to go next. When we go next, it's going to give us this screen here, right? You're here?
Yeah.
We obviously want to, we can choose which table we want, but we're going to choose all tables, right? We don't have any views right now, and there are no stored procedures or functions. So we're going to do that. If you don't look at the model namespace, it's COMP3026 model, right? Because that's what my application is called, COMP3026. My database, thank you. And I'm going to I'm going to click finish.
Print it.
Print it, finish, yeah. Click finish. All right. When I do that, it does this little generation, and if things go well, it'll create my model from the database, and all my classes will be created as well. Let's see if it works. It's still working, people. Right?
Security warning. Yeah, I got a security warning.
Aha! No security for me.
I will trust that template.
You
I
see
trusted
this?
It, too. It seemed like a good guy, so I trusted it.
I did. So there we go. There's our a connection. We see that there's a category, a connection with our menu. We do see this is the model view, right? Again, what you could do is you could start here and it would generate the database from this model, right? So you have no database, you have no classes. You make this model, you model it out, right? And it'll generate the code, and it'll generate the database from this, right? Or you could simply start from here. Now, if you notice on the right-hand side, let's take a look on the right-hand side here. Under references, you see that the entity framework has been added into your project, right? So you have to do that manually, right? And we have under models, Tom's model.edmx. We also have a couple of other additional things. We have our category CS file. This is our model. This is what it looks like. We have a couple of properties. We also have a public virtual interface called iCollection menus, right? This is for our category class, right? And if you notice, it makes a reference to the menus model, which is this one.
So, Tom, if we're selecting only the table that we want for that model, you'd only select that table in that.
That's correct. If you only want categories, or if you only want whatever, you can split them up. I've chosen both, right? Which is totally cool. Are we good? Are you with me? You're still behind?
No, I'm pretty sure I'm with you.
All right. This is okay. This is good. But you know what? We have our discounted price, our category ID, and everything else here. Remember what we did last time? We had our models, and from our models, we want to generate our controller, right? We want to get our controller. We want to create a new controller, and we want to make it so that the new controller is based off of we use our models, right? So right now we have we have one controller, the home controller, and I want to make a controller for our menu. We don't need a controller for our categories right now, unless I want to manually add categories or something. So let's add our menu controller. So I'm going to go right click. I'm going to go add, and I'm going to go controller. Okay, it's going to take us here where it says MVC controller with read-write actions. That's the one I want. If I go here, it says MVC controller with views using entity framework. Well, we already have entity framework, so let's try this one. All right, this is a different one than this one. Let's go add. And if you look at our model class, we already have a model class. We have our menu and we have our category. We don't want category items, but we do want menu items. So menu is what we're going to use here. Our data context class, right, if you notice, is our default connection. That's just our connection string that we're going to use here. And I've got reference script libraries checked, generate views checked, and use a layout page. If I had a layout page, I can specify a view start file. And it's going to be called our menus controller, right? Yes?
So would we want to use asynchronous controller actions?
We could. For now, leave it unchecked because we'll see the difference. All this is non-blocking, right?
Yeah.
Let's click add.
I got a question for you, Tom.
Yeah?
I don't have default connection. I have restaurant DB entities.
Because you left it that way, right? Remember I changed mine to default connection?
I don't remember
Upper
that.
camel case?
Will this work? Oh, okay, yeah, I remember.
That's when I did it. That's when I did it.
Okay.
And when you
We're good.
were breaking my balls, I actually did the right thing, right? All right, and now I'm going to press add. When I click add, see, yours broke. Yours broke, right?
Because of that?
And now I have, hey, there's an error running the selected code generator, right? Try rebuilding the project. I don't mind doing that. In fact, if anything, I can go back. I'm good with that because it didn't change anything. If I save all, I'm going to save all, and I'm going to rebuild my project. I'm going to build my project one time. I'm going to build my project, and if there's any issues, it's good. Okay, I'm going to close this down just to make sure there's no conflicts, right? I'm going to go back to controllers, and I'm going to right-click. I'm going to add new controller. And I'm going to choose controller with views using entity framework, add. Go back to model class, choose my model class. Hopefully this will work this time, menu. And my default connection string. And I'm going to click, it's menus controller. And I'm going to click add. Hopefully this will work this time, it does. Now it's scaffolding it out. And I've got my menus controller. And my menus controller actually has my menus details. I have my create. I have my create that includes an add, and then I have my edit. I have my full CRUD automatically generated for me, right? I'd say this is pretty good, right? From a scaffold perspective using Visual Studio. Okay, now we have to add this in because even though we have our views, so here's our models, And we have two views. We have our home view and we have our menus view. We need to make a link to this menus view, and it's got to be able so that we see our menu, right? So if I go back to my to one of these pages here, if I go to index CS.html and on the home controller, right? Then I have my navigation, all right? Or sorry, this is my this is the stuff, my content page that I'm using for my menu. Now I can change from my main page, my jumbotron and so on. But I have in my my shared folder. Remember, this is where all my templates are. I have my layout.cs.html in my shared folder under views, right? If I double click on that, I will see that I have, this is just Bootstrap, right? And I have my home, about, and contact, right, links. I want to add another link that uses a different controller, right? Instead of my home controller, I want to use my menus controller, right? That's what it's called, menus, right? Here's menus. So I want to create another, use an HTML action link to do that, right? So I've got my home, about, and contact. I want to slip it in between home and about. So I'm just going to copy one of these, right? And I want to just change this link action. Oops, I missed an open bracket. And I want to change the about. So this is what the actual description is going to be. It's going to be called menu. I'll change this to menu and menus, because that's what my menus controller is going to be. I'm going to save. And one thing I need also is, if you notice, I also have this application name from my navbar brand area. I want to call this Tom's, right? Because that's what it should be called, right? And I'm going to save everything. And now let's test it all out. I'm just going to drop out of this and just run my application and see if it runs. All right. Now, I don't have to log in to do this. I don't have any kind of authentication schema, but I do have Tom's. I have a basic page that I'm going to modify later. I've got my menu, right? Here's my menu link. This should take me to my menus controller, right? And now, and I get this, right? Now, why? Because I put in menu, and it shouldn't be menus. It should be just menu by itself, so I've got the wrong link. If I go do this, it should be able to take me to my index. And then what it does is it gives me my my Stella, and if I can do my CRUD here, right, I can go create new, right, and I can add in my new item. So let's say I add another beer, right? So what other beers can we add in there, right? Let's add in Heineken, right, and a nice beer from Germany, right? And my price, this is an issue.
Yeah, it's not sure.
Is it Germany?
No. Or is it
Heineken's.
Holland? Denmark.
Is it?
Apart from the Netherlands.
Okay, Denmark. From Denmark. Sorry,
No, the Netherlands is Denmark.
is it Holland?
Carlsberg is from Denmark.
Right. And then here's the problem with my price. It's not really. If I skip over it, I can skip over my price because it's not required. That's a problem. There's some things we got to change here, which we can rescaffold in a second, right? So I don't have to set any of these things. There's no validation at all, which is an issue, right? So let's add a price. Let's make this a little bit more expensive, $5.99. It's not on special, but my discounted price is going to be $1 off, $4.99. It's not appetizers, and this comes through. My categories work nice, right? I'm going to choose beverages, and I'm going to click create. And if all goes well, I have another item. Guys, I have full CRUD. Right here, and I've done this right through Entity Framework. This is what I want you guys to do when you make your store, right? I'm showing you what to do for assignment number 1, right? Yes.
So is the idea in this case that, for instance, this could be the cart?
This is
You
your
don't have
menu.
control over the products.
Well, this is just your menu. This is your addition. If I want to look at my details view, I don't have that. I should be able to create. If I click details, right? This gives me my basic ability to add or modify full CRUD, right? I may want to have a menu, right? A totally different link. And maybe menus shouldn't be called menu. It should be called you know, add, create, modify menu, something like that, some other kind of link.
The administrative thing.
An administrative link that I could do stuff with the menu, right? But at least it shows me that I have full CRUD, right? Using my MVC framework with Bootstrap, right? So I'm going to go back to menu. And the reason why this isn't working, this link, is because I've got my link set up wrong here. So if I go back to, I'm going to stop debugging for a second. And I'm going to go back to layout.cshtml. And I want to go to menu, right? Here's my menu, but I want to hit index, right? I think that's what it is. I think it's the first one is the link and the where is it going, and then the controller, if I'm not wrong. Let's try that. I'm going to rerun this thing to make sure it's correct. And I want to see if I can get some persistence going on. So when I can fix this, if I click menu, right, I'm good now. Right, and all I did there was I just changed my index, my second one, this action link. I changed my what page is it looking for in my menus controller. So it's my menus controller. This is the link text, and this is where it's going inside my views, my view section. So I'm going to index, and I go my menus. Now this would obviously be, like Jean-Luc said, something that I would have to in the future log into, because it's an administrative dashboard that's only going to appear when I'm logged in, right? Questions so far? So again, I'm getting full CRUD, but I'm not logged into this. I have no security right now whatsoever. Any user can add a menu item, right? That I'm exposing. So for me to log in, I have to add in my own user controller, right? Where I log in, I have to be authenticated. We'll talk about that in a future session. You could also build it in. I didn't choose to build it in with user authentication, right? Where they log in, they create a kind of user ID, and they have to be authenticated before they can access. Okay, I want to publish this little app up on Azure now, right? So I think I've got some CRUD. It's not perfect by any means. Lots of work to do, but I want to publish it. There's a couple of things I can do. I can open up a GitHub repo and publish it from there. That's one approach. And the great thing about that one is as soon as I update in this particular case, I don't have a staging site. I'm live, and as soon as I update GitHub, my changes are updated to GitHub, then it gets pushed to the server. That's a good thing, right? I could choose to publish. So if I right-click on my project, I could choose publish. This is the way it can be done. And again, I can choose a Microsoft Azure web app, right? I can select an existing app, or I can choose new. So let's choose new. And I'm going to choose my app name. So I'm going to call this, see if I can get this done, COMP3026. Hopefully that's going to be available. It is. Yours will not be. I'm going to choose Azure Pass. And my app service plan, I'm going to create a new app service plan. I'm going to call this Tom's Greek. There we go, Tom's Greek. And I'm going to choose default SQL East US resource group. I wonder if that's the one though, because I've got a bunch of them. That might be an issue for my resource group.
So what's the deal with those? Like, what's going on with the resource groups and the search plans and all that?
Well, it tells me where my database is right now, right? So my databases are East US. I could create a new one, a resource group. And if you notice, there's a
when I created the project, right?
yeah, I did. Yeah, we do. But that's typically where it is. If it's in East US, that's already been created. My region, East US. This is where it's replicated, and my database. This is important. And of course, I'm going to choose my East US database. This new one, ASF key, whatever it is, right? My username and my password for my database. I'm going to click create. If all is good, I should be able to do this as long as no one took COMP3026. It does do an initial check, but if you guys try to do it at the same time, it'll fail for me, right? Because you can only, it's a fully qualified name, COMP3026 Azure websites.net, right? So let's see if it fails. Hopefully it will not. Am I using pay-as-you-go? I'm using Pass. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm using Azure Pass. Yay! That would be bad. Pay-as-you-go is bad for me. Now it's taking a while, but this is how long it takes to generate the site. It says downloading, and if you notice, it's good. I'm going to press. It says web deploy. That's my method. I'm going to click. If I click next, I could. I'm just going to choose publish, and then it's going to do its publishing package thing. It's going to start web deploy, and if it works, it's going to take me right to the site when it's done. Let's see what happens. And
Tell me my database server already exists.
I didn't create a new database server. I just chose.
Bingo.
I'm good. So if I click menu, hold on, I get an error, right? Because, and this is sometimes what happens when you publish right on Azure the way I did it, right? Because if you notice COMP3026, an error occurred while processing your request. And I'm wondering if it's my what I chose. Well, my basic site, if I go to my basic site, if I choose about, contact, all that stuff, that works okay. But this part, which requires persistence and connection to my database server, is the issue. And sometimes what happens is it could be the way I've created my Azure app that has chosen to do that. That's caused that issue. So how do I do it? How do I republish my site? If I go right-click and I click publish, again, I can publish here. I could start a preview. My file preview. When I go to my connection, here's my connection string. I also went to web deploy right away, right? I could choose FTP as well. That's kind of weird. Here's my site name. And if I validate my connection string, it's going to validate that things work. I'm good. If I click next, I can do it the long way. My configuration is a release. I can do a debug. I can choose that as well. Right? Here's my default connection. This is the problem, right? Data source is this. Database windows.net. Initial catalog. Da 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 da. This is the same, and this it shows my password too, right? What's what I use? TT12345. Bang, right? Use this connection string at runtime, update destination web.config, right? That's all I'm doing. So that's exactly the same connection string. And it says remove additional files at destination. Next. And I don't have a preview. That's weird. And no database are selected to publish. That's kind of weird too. And I think this is where I'd have to refresh file preview. I don't have a database here on my Azure websites. And that's the problem. I don't have a, I'm using 3026, but I don't have a data, I have no tables here that it's showing me at all. That's what the issue is. See how it says no databases are selected to publish? I don't have a database here. And if I don't have a database, right, as an example, like it says name, action, modified, there's nothing here. I'm not going to have a database to click.
Try publishing a debug version, that way you'll get an error message.
Okay, let's try that. Here's my debug version. Start preview. See, this is more like it. That's what I was expecting. A web config file, the whole thing, an update.
Maybe just switch type.
No.
View the source. Oh, that's okay.
You like that?
An error.
No,
There's some error pages that
it's just not
source
connect.
is
It's not connected to the database. That's the answer. The answer is there's no connection to the database.
I got mine.
You get yours going? What did I do
I
different?
didn't create a new app. I connected to the existing app that got created at the beginning of the deployment.
You made an app where on Azure? So I can go back and undo all that, and delete it.
When I go to publish,
Yeah. I went to an existing app. So
Oh, that already-
and
it's already out there.
I created that when I made the project.
Oh, yeah, you went there right ahead of time, and I did it afterwards.
It connected to the,
That's what it was.
connected to the database, right? So
Yeah. See, I didn't do that right away. I did it after. I was doing it the other way. That's probably the better way, the way you did it. Now, there's ways of fixing this, obviously. Let's try and fix it. So I'm going to stop. I haven't debugged anything. I have my local version here. And if I go to my publishing, right? If I go to publish again. Now, what happens if I want to go back? So now I have my debug version. I want to go to my release version. If I go back again, and I keep going back, if I go manage profiles,
you can go back on more stuff, as in like cancel it.
I could, but let me manage my profiles. I'm gonna delete this thing. Yes. Press close. It's gone. And I'm gonna do it the other way around. I'm gonna close this up, and I'm gonna go up on Azure, and I'm gonna see this site here on Azure. So I'm gonna go to.
See, I didn't do it through Azure, though. I did it through Visual Studio.
I know. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try the other way around. So I should be able to see my app, right? It's on Azure. It's the same thing, right? But I think it's just a connection string. I used probably the wrong service when I created my app, and that's what cucked me up.
You use the default. I created my own. That could be another difference.
All right, so let's take a look at my my web app. It's going to be up here. Web app. So it's running. It's using Azure Pass, and this is the thing. I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to delete it. No link resources. That's weird. That's the problem. See how it says no link resources? That's bad. And press OK.
You know about deleted things? If you have linked resources, there's no way to delete them after you've done it.
It's bad.
Weird.
Yeah, it's bad too. So let us create a new app from here now. So I'll go the other way around. I'll go new. I'll do a quick create, and I'll do the same thing, COMP3026. Instead of a default plan, I'll use maybe not pay as you go. Can I choose another one? Create a new service plan. And I'll go to East US, and I'll choose Azure Pass, and I'll create my web app.
Just change this so it's not.
That's going to be just making an empty app, right? So maybe this will work. Trying to figure out different ways of doing it. And the other
I
way,
had to specify my database right from the big one when I did it. Maybe I like went through a different new project step or something.
yeah, that's fine. No, I didn't do it. I didn't connect to. I didn't publish to web right away. Right, that's what the problem was. Okay, so here's COMP3026. I've got this as an empty project, right? And now let's go back to Visual Studio and click Publish. Publish, but I want to kind of hit Microsoft Azure Web Apps. I wonder if I connect this way. And there's an existing app. I know, Starbase 12. Okay, I've got web deploy. Now, I don't know what the difference between web deploy and web deploy package is. I think web deploy is enough.
That's what you want.
I'll make it a debug version just because, you know, just because. My remote connection
Got it
string.
to work. You know what it was? The database string? If you click on the ellipse right beside it, you've got to go in and change the database, select the proper database.
Oh, there it is. You're right, buddy.
Because it renames the database. It
You're
adds
right.
DB onto the end of it.
And that's what I have to. I'm doing that right now. I just missed a step. And of course, I got to put in that database name, which I can't remember for the life of me. Right? So it's
Well, Open up Azure, you can find it.
That's exactly where I'm going to go.
Instead of closing all your windows.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And it's SQL database is this one. And this one here, this one here. Oh, I see what it did. It did this, look. Retired, look what it says retired, look at that one, okay? That's why we had a problem, because there was nothing in there. It didn't work. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna choose delete. How do I delete it?
Just go back. You gotta
Go
go.
back to the.
Don't click the arrow. Just click the line. Yeah,
There we go.
kind of a weird interface.
That's fine. But this is the connection I need right here. So this and actually if I click this, it should tell me my database connection string right here. So you're right, Aaron, I created a new database. That's what it was doing. And let's see if it connects. It does. I got my database string. It's funny that I have to do this all again. That's kind of shitty. Sorry to say that out loud on YouTube, but
God forbid you swear on YouTube.
I know it's terrible.
All 6 people that are gonna watch.
Use this connection exactly. Use this connection and update everything remotely. Start preview. Let's see if I can see it. Preview failed. Click for details. Oh yeah, because there's no remote computer yet. And I'll publish. See what happens there. Oh, web management services started. Sorry, I'm doing it backwards. So I got to go to back to web apps, and I got to go here, and I got to go to dashboard. It says that I'm not deployed. Set up deployment credentials. No, I don't need to do that. Reset your published profile credentials. Set up deployment from source control. No, I don't want to do that. View connection strings. Visit the new portal. No. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this back the way you did it again, right? Without creating this thing. I don't know how to create it from Azure. Do you guys know? How about the other guys in the corner, Jean-Luc and Kevin or anybody? You guys figure it out?
So,
Just create a new web app.
I have a new web app right here. But how do I can't deploy.
What happens when you go to deploy to that 3026?
I did. Look, I went comp, publish, right? COMP3026. And if I go back to profile, right, manage profiles, that's what it is. And if I go to next, this is my connection string. Oh, this is weird. Oh no, this is right. This is good, COMP3026. That's all good, validate connection. This is this problem. I can't connect to this thing. There's no connection.
Did you use the same name?
I could have.
So you're using the same name as the other one I just used?
I killed it though. I killed it.
I killed it too. There were still things left over.
Well, we're going to kill it. We're going to go back and do this all again. So I'm not just going to kill this name. So manage profiles, remove. Yes. And I'm going to create a new app. A new app. We'll call this is pay as you go, eh? Tom's. How about we'll go call it Tom's?
No. Not staying.
Tom's Greek. There we go. Tom's Greek. How about that? There you go. Pay as you go. We're going to go to Azure Pass. We're going to select my database as this one with a link. Bang. I need to select an app service, or I'm going to create a new one. Well, Tom Screed. I thought I had that, but anyways, resource group. I want to say create new resource group now, eh?
I did that.
Tom's group. And my region is going to be East US. So everything's new. And create.
See, I did that inside Visual Studio when I started the project.
But
I think it's because I did the new Azure project.
I think you can do both ways though. I think you can do it inside and outside Azure, right? And you can also do it on the GitHub side too.
So what was different? It was 'cause, like, did
I-
I go new cloud project? Is that what I did?
No, you probably closed this host on cloud, right?
Oh,
You probably did that, and I didn't.
Oh, okay.
And now my colleague. You have an exam today by chance? Oh boy.
That was the message I was getting.
Well, we'll follow up next time
Database server already exists.
with and that's the problem. I will server not next week, but the week after when we get back, we have an exam. So please study. We'll get this up to you. And worst case scenario, if you can't deploy to Azure, that's okay. I'll figure it out. Yeah.